Our first slide. I am going to quit sharing just for a moment so that my co-panelists and I can be on the screen and see each other and do some introductions. So my name is Sherry Bonds. I'm the Director of Career and Technical Education for the Round Rock Independent School District. Our academies, and you'll see in a moment, are 4 CTE academies or career and technical education, and then 1 academy that's visual and performing arts. So a very large bulk of the academies are held within the career and technical education department. So I will be speaking for fine arts just a little bit, but I won't have all of their answers. So if there are questions that we need to get to their staff, please let us know, but we can definitely answer very broad and general academy questions. Some may get very campus specific, and we might have those answers, but we may also want to direct you to a counselor if they have the answers that you might need. But I will go ahead and let Ms. Darby introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alicia Darby Smith, and I'm one of the Career and Technical Education Specialists here in Round Rock ISD. One of my program areas, a couple of mine are engineering, law enforcement, culinary, and middle school gateway. And we'll be introducing cybersecurity for all of our freshmen that are coming in, and that program actually started this school year. So next year, if you have any students entering into high school, they'll have the opportunity to take cybersecurity.
Good evening. My name is Paul Boff. I'm also one of the CTE or Career and Technical Education Specialists in Round Rock ISD. And my areas or content areas of focus are agricultural sciences, biomedical sciences, health sciences, our new drone aviation program, as well as architecture, construction, and interior design. And like Ms. Darby said before me, cybersecurity was a new program this year, so as well as the drone aviation courses. So if you have an incoming freshman, we welcome them to enter that pathway.
All right. Thank you. So for those of you joining us, if you are just now coming on, if you wouldn't mind, use the Q&A feature just to let us know where your student is on one of our campuses, so that we have an idea of where our families are coming from tonight. But then also use that Q&A feature as the evening goes on to ask any questions. Alicia and Paul are actually going to be answering those as we go, and then we'll take live questions toward the end. So you'll still enter them into the chat, and then we will give you our answers verbally. So with that, I am going to go ahead and share and get started. So our entire CTE staff, or the Career and Technical Education Department here in Round Rock ISD, as Paul and Alicia introduced themselves, they're part of our team, but we also have Ms. Peggy Mitcha, who's our Assistant Director and is over the Computer Science programs of study. We also have Miss Gloria Evans, and some of you who are McNeil families and have been in that feeder pattern for a while may actually be familiar with Miss Evans. She has been the Academy Specialist on that campus for many years and has now transitioned to central office with us, but she's over audiovisual production, automotive technology, business, finance, marketing, and graphic arts. We also have Miss Lucy Sanchez, again, a specialist that was at the Westwood High School campus for many, many years. She is over education, human services, fashion design, information technology, print shop, and then our science courses like forensic science and anatomy and physiology that fall under the CTE umbrella. Not with us this evening are our fine arts staff, and we just want to give them an introduction. As I said before, our academies span 5 different academies. 4 of those fall under our purview, and so we'll be touching on visual and performing arts and can answer a variety of questions, but anything specific, these would be the folks you'd want to talk to. We have Lisa Roebuck, who's the director. Tim Loki is the assistant director over visual and performing arts. Mr. Yeager Lloyd is the assistant director over instrumental music. Marla Valk is the coordinator for dance, and then Charles Hobby is the theater liaison, and Mr. Hobby is actually an instructor at Round Rock High School. So just a little bit of information about academies. We've actually had academies in Round Rock ISD for more than a decade. So it's something that our district began many years ago, looking for a smaller feel within our high schools, because our high schools do range in size, and our community is comfortable with a larger high school between 2,600 and almost 3,600 students. And so our district was looking for a way for our students to feel more connected. And so we brought in Academies, and it's really just a way for our students to begin to focus on a potential career field or an area of interest that they want to pursue for 4 years. If you have a student who graduated more than 3 years ago, our academies used to be a 3-credit sequence, and that actually changed several years ago when the Texas legislature changed graduation plans and mandated endorsements of 4 credits. So our academies had to be realigned in order to make that adjustment so that our students could earn their endorsements. So when you meet with counselors at any time and they might mention the word endorsement, know that as long as you take one of our prescribed academy sequences, you automatically will earn your endorsement at the end upon successful completion. So you've been able to read the quote on the screen, but our idea again is for our students to become college and career ready through a program of study of their choice or multiples. We do have students who are able to complete multiple programs of study, but we do ask them to make their academy and endorsement selection in the spring of their 8th grade year. So counselors may already be talking to your 8th graders if you're an 8th grade parent. If you're a 7th grade parent, it's being discussed on campuses or virtually in classrooms if there are mixed groups of students by grade level. But it really, those conversations begin I guess more intense in 8th grade with the counselors. And so in the spring, and every campus is different, but students will be getting choice sheets and more information about their options and be asked to make selections depending on their campus sometime between the end of January and around spring break in middle of March. So just be on the lookout for that information, and you'll actually be, if you're an 8th grade parent, be receiving our academy brochure in the mail in January. It's something that normally our students would have received during one of our campus visits or on the 8th grade day, where we actually bus all of our 8th graders to our high schools so that they can walk around, see the campus, begin to feel comfortable, but also be able to see our CTE and fine arts areas. Those visits obviously are not happening this year. We typically would have done those before Thanksgiving, but what we're working on right now is a virtual tour. And so those also will be coming out in January, and that information with those videos will be included in the brochure that gets mailed home. Again, if you're a 7th grader, we'll have access to that information on our sites if you want to look at that. By all means, feel free to do so. But 8th graders know that we are not going to let them miss out on the information. It'll just come to them a little bit different way this year, but that information will be coming out to our students. So some items that academies provide that other high schools that might not have the same structure may or may not have these added bonuses, but we offer a small learning community. That idea is our students are able to take like courses with a group of students that they'll see over the next 4 years, but also with similar teachers, so that they get that feeling of, even in a large campus, having a closer knit group that are like-minded in a career focus. Partnerships are integral to our academies through our advisory boards and guest lecture series and everything else. We want to make sure that our community and local colleges, employers, everyone is involved with our students so that the students have access to those entities, but also our greater community can understand what it looks like in our campuses right now. There's also the opportunity for a college prep program. When people hear career and technical education, they may think of vocational or those students and not programming that's available for all kids, but it truly is open to all of our students, 100%. Anyone who wants to take our classes can enter in at the beginning, and students still do have the opportunity to take all of the college prep courses that they desire. So it's not an and or. As I said at the beginning, our students also will earn endorsements by successfully completing their academy sequence, and those are a state mandated requirement depending on the graduation plan your student will graduate upon. So as I said at the beginning, we have 5 academies in Round Rock ISD: business and industry, health science, public service, STEM, or science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and then visual and performing arts. The first 4 are academies that Round Rock ISD within the CTE department manages, and then the visual and performing arts are something that fall under Lisa Roebuck and her staff. So within the CTE programs of study that are at each of our high schools, you'll notice that the academies are the same, but not all of the programs of study are the same. So this is important when your student gets the brochure in the mail, or if you would like to go to our CTE site and you can search academies at Round Rock ISD and you will find our academy brochure. But it'll be important to look at the programs of study available for your student on that campus and make sure that they are aware of all of the opportunities and really think about the courses that they want to begin to study. So some programs are available at all high school, things like business, marketing, finance, STEM. We have computer science, engineering at all of our high schools. Biomedical science, health science. So there's quite a few, but here at Cedar Ridge, some of the programs that are signature programs would be architectural design, construction technology, culinary arts, as well as interior design and video production. Mr. Boff alluded or mentioned drone aviation, and that is a brand new program of study for us this year, and we're very excited for our students to be able to enter into that. And if any of you are parents on here of maybe a current freshman that didn't know about this program of study, check with your campus and see if there's an opportunity for your students to enter into that program next year. If there's room, there might be a possibility for it. They won't be able to finish the sequence, unfortunately, but we are excited that we were able to bring that program of study to our students. As we go along to McNeil High School, again, you'll see lots of the same sequences, but you'll also notice that this campus has agricultural mechanics, animal science, automotive technology, and then floral design and vet science, along with video production. So on this campus, there is the opportunity to get engaged with our agricultural programs. And you'll also notice that in STEM, they offer cybersecurity just like Cedar Ridge did. And as Ms. Darby mentioned, that's a program of study that she has the opportunity to oversee. And again, another program that we're able to begin this school year, and we're very excited about it. Both of those programs, drone and cybersecurity, are some of the most emerging fields, and you probably hear a lot about them lately, especially cybersecurity with some of the hacking going on. And what we're actually teaching our students in that cybersecurity program is to become the ones to defend our infrastructure. So they do learn some of the hacking and ways that insecurities in networks, but then they're really learning to beef up the system. It's not a computer science heavy sequence. That's a tiny piece of it with coding. This is really the idea of good versus bad and how to secure your network. So it's really an exciting program that we're proud to be brought on this year. At Round Rock High School, some of the programs that you'll notice that are signature programs there would be automotive technology, culinary arts. They also have game programming and design, which is only available at Round Rock High School. So if your student wants to combine coding and artwork to actually create games, it's not about playing the video games. There are clubs for that, but it's actually about creating those video games. Then this would be a campus for your student. They also have graphic design along with a print shop, and that's our district's one and only student-run print shop. They can print everything from buttons and t-shirts to wall decals and window coverings. It really is amazing all of the work that our students can accomplish there within that program of study. One other program that's available at Round Rock High School would be the Law and Legal Systems. That's a program of study where students that are interested in actually learning the legal side of law enforcement as if being an attorney, that's a great program of study for them. Law enforcement is available at 3 of our campuses, but that law and legal studies is also only available at Round Rock High School. At Stony Point High School, you will notice that agricultural science is also replicated here with ag mechanics, animal science, floral design, and veterinary science. They also have the option for our students there to take law enforcement, and just a great opportunity for kids to get engaged. Something that you've seen replicated on all of the slides would be our health science and our biomedical sciences. These are 2 programs that offer students within health science two different perspectives in the medical field. With biomedical science, we like to tell students that's more of the science and the research behind medicine, not so much on the patient care side, where health science theory and practice is definitely on the patient care side. So a little more hands-on. Our students in that sequence have the opportunity to earn multiple certifications, which we'll talk about a little closer to the end of this presentation. But they also at this campus have the option to take the pharmacy tech internship course, which is available at all 5 high schools, but Cedar Ridge and Stony Point are the only 2 campuses to offer the certified nurse aide program. And so that's where students actually get to intern for 6 weeks in our hospital in a normal year and 6 weeks in a skilled nursing facility and earn some amazing certifications through that opportunity. So really some great unique offerings at Stony Point High School. And last but not least, you will see Westwood High School. Westwood has some great programs, including one that is only right now available at Westwood within the STEM Academy, and that's the robotics. And you'll notice that cyber isn't currently included, and that's because the campus had the option to bring in both. And in looking at their program and also the students and their interests, they wanted to start with robotics, and cybersecurity will come on later. So cybersecurity, if you've got a younger student, will be an option down the road, but for right now, our students there have the opportunity for robotics. And those students can enter into first and best competitions. So if you're at all familiar with that, the teacher there, Mr. Wilmot, can definitely answer all of those questions. Another signature program that they have before we move off of here is the video production. And video production, our students actually get to hold several $1,000s worth of camera equipment and film videos and do editing. They create pieces for their campus or even for different competitions. We've had students that have actually entered into South by Southwest EDU and had their projects accepted. They've done spots for PBS, so lots of great opportunities for our students. And so much of what our programming about is hands-on and real world. We want our students to really get that chance to experience things and not just made up and simulated opportunities. We really want our students to be able to get in on a ground level of a career field. And if they find that as their passion, that's wonderful. They found something to pursue as a career. If not, maybe it is just a passion, something that's just an interest. And they take those courses for 4 years and decide, you know what, I'm glad I learned that, but I'm going to go off in a different direction. So it really is just an opportunity for our students to learn and engage. And before we leave the Westwood High School program, you'll notice that under public service, which is available at all of our campuses, we have the education and training program. So these students are actually getting the opportunity to begin understanding what it's like to be a teacher. And by the time they finish out their sequence, they've had the opportunity to do an internship at one of our elementary campuses or with a daycare in our community where the students actually get to work with students and create lesson plans like a teacher would. It really is an exciting opportunity. Air Force or ROTC does not technically fall under the career and tech education realm, but it is something that's included in our academies. 4 of our 5 high schools have a branch of the JROTC program. Unfortunately, Cedar Ridge doesn't. We've asked for that, but the Department of Defense actually determines who's allowed to have programs and not. And they've said that 4 out of 5 isn't bad. So unfortunately, Cedar Ridge right now does not have Air Force, but there are opportunities to transfer for that program of study if students are interested in a campus that actually has that. So when we talk about CTE or all of our academy classes that fall under the CTE realm, you might be wondering how many students are actually taking these classes. So currently, 80% of our high school students are enrolled in a CTE class. So it's not somebody else's students, someone else's friend that I don't know. It's your students, it's your neighbor's kids. It really is almost nearly the entire campus. And you'll see the next number or statistic is that current percentage of high school students that have taken at least one CTE class is 94%. So our students graduating, you'll know almost anyone in a senior class, and they have almost all taken a CTE course. So it's not what you might have thought about long ago when it was, again, those kids at another campus, or in entry-level positions that won't go anywhere. We really are looking at high skill, high wage, high demand fields for our students. And that's why in looking at revamping our programs or adding in new opportunities for our students, that's where things like drone aviation and cybersecurity and robotics come from. This pie graph or pie chart shows you a breakdown of our CTE enrollment. Now, this is not overall academy, this is by courses. And so you'll notice that law and public safety is quite a big chunk of the pie chart. And that's because of a course that our students find really, really interesting, and that's forensic science. While we do have law enforcement at 3 of our campuses, and it's very popular, forensic science is actually available at all 5 of our high schools. So if your student is interested in the law enforcement field, but may not have that program of study at your high school, they can enroll in forensic science and learn about all of the science behind crime scene investigation. So it's very popular among folks who like to watch the CSI show, but it really is a good hands-on opportunity for students to learn about fingerprints and splatters and ballistics and all of those things that they would need within law enforcement. You will see that health science is the largest sector on the pie chart, and that's because they truly are our largest program of study. Health science is wildly important. We have students that enter that career area because they want to be a nurse, they want to be a doctor, a surgeon, maybe an epidemiologist. They want to do that research on the back end, especially right now with COVID, I can imagine that we'll have lots of students down the road that will want to enter into that field, but there's lots of opportunities for our students. We also have singleton courses like the anatomy and physiology class that students can take as a option as one of their 4th year science credits. And so health science is also a very large enrollment due to that fact. Business, marketing, and finance, again, because it's at all campuses, is really popular and has a high enrollment. STEM as well, with courses like computer science and engineering, and then the cybersecurity, it really is a large program of study. So what benefits can your student expect from an academy? As we said before, we really want these programs of study to make our students, or to prepare our students for the 21st century. We don't want our students to walk out of the campus and think, well, that was nice. I'm glad I took some classes. Now what do I do to enter into a career field or to continue this pathway in college? We really want to make sure that our students have robust opportunities for authentic learning. And so that's where making sure that our programs of study are relevant, but that also that our teachers are working with our community partners to make sure that that students have those hands-on opportunities. We really want to make sure that our students have increased engagement. We know that by enrolling in a program and sticking with it and having that connection with students and teachers, but also the content in that area, that they're more engaged in school. We also don't want any student to ask, am I ever going to use this? Why do I need to know it? And that's not what CTE is about. CTE is really about our students being able to apply what they're learning, no matter if it's accounting and learning how to pay their or file their taxes or someone else's taxes at the end, or if it is learning in architectural design, how to design a home and form follows function, and they can use that down the road. They really are relevant skills that we want to give to our students. This also allows students the opportunity to personalize their high school experience. They are in control of the electives that they take. They're the ones, along with their families, that will pick the program of study or multiple programs of study and finish those throughout the 4 years. We always get the question, and it's even posed later in the discussion, can my child change their mind after they've started a pathway? They absolutely can. The earlier, the better. The sequences are 4 credits long, and so depending on when a student switches those programs of study, they may have to double up and take multiple courses in a year. Sometimes that's possible. Sometimes it may not be due to prerequisites that must be taken in a sequence, but that's just something to talk with a counselor and make sure that they understand what that looks like. We also want students to view graduation as a beginning. We understand that not all are going to jump off in these career fields and continue to study them when they go off to post-secondary education, but we hope that it does open their eyes to all of the possibilities, and even thinking about, if this is not the career field I want to explore in my future? What is? So even just exploring something to depth. We have lots of students that enter our automotive technology and take the courses for all 4 years, and they may never go and work in an automotive industry, but they can change their own oil and their own tire and help out family members with switching out spark plugs and all different kinds of things. So there are just lots of options for our kiddos. And we do want them to be able to customize their coursework with their teachers. Other high school opportunities that our students have the advantage of taking or have the opportunity to participate in are things like site visits. We encourage our teachers as much as possible to get out of the classroom in a normal year and take our students on field trips to go and visit those job sites or different career areas. This year in COVID, some high school students with our construction program of study actually had the opportunity to see their teacher touring a construction site, of course with social distance and masks and all of those things, but he brought the students along by videoing as we went, and he got to interact with partners. So even though we're still in this COVID timeline in the pandemic, our students are still getting those opportunities. Internships are built into many of our programs of study, and of course our teachers are willing to help students that want to try and find an internship on their own, but several of our programs have the option of an internship at the end, and those are typically called practicum level courses. So I mentioned that with our pharmacy tech and the CNA through health science, those students actually go out and for 6 weeks at a time spend some time shadowing and working with our partners. As I mentioned with construction this year, if it hadn't been in the pandemic, we were actually working with one of our partners, TD Industries, for them to actually hire our students for paid internships throughout the year. So there are options for paid and unpaid. This year with automotive technology at McNeil High School, they started their first practicum level students in an internship with Austin Infinity. So we've got a couple of kids doing that. So we really want to get our kids out as often as possible. We offer a variety of competitions through our career and tech student organizations, things like DECA, FFA, BPA, FBLA. It's a lot of acronyms, but career-focused program areas and competitions. We also have students participating in robotics, engineering projects, Skills USA, lots of different ways for them to apply the knowledge they've learned. We also encourage career mentors, someone that a student can actually ask those questions of, how did you get into this field? What do I need to do? Am I on the right track? Do I need an internship or not? When should that be? So our teachers through our advisory board partners can connect students with career mentors if anybody is interested. Other real world experiences that we build in are things like career fairs. And last year, folks are probably tired of us talking about it, but last year, right after spring break, we had scheduled our first Academy to Career Expo, or our ACE Day. And our plan was to bring in industry partners, post-secondary entities, and all of our junior level health science students to come together and get to network with those folks and ask exactly, how do I become a nurse? What's the best way? How do I enter into the radiology tech field? What do I need to do right now in high school to be finishing up to prepare myself for bachelor's degree and then medical school? All of those different questions that our students have. And so our plan is to eventually hold ACE Day for health science and then also scale that to our other program areas. We really want to connect our students that are in these programs with the people that can help them continue on their journey. Of course, our teachers are doing that every day with guest speakers and college visits and job shadows, but it really is that opportunity for students to have that one-on-one networking. Academy students can also earn all of the college prep coursework that we talked about at the beginning. That's often a question. If my student has to take this endorsement or this program of study, how do they fit it in? And the answer is they can. They have to work with their counselor and create a 4-year plan, and we'll look at those in just a second. But it's important to understand what advanced academic credits students want to attain and work toward that in a backwards design. Start with the end in mind. Look at senior year and map backwards what courses your student wants to take. But there's lots of options. Advanced placement, dual credit, and dual enrollment, those are offered at all of our high schools. Articulated credit is as well. The International Baccalaureate or the IB program is available at Stony Point High School and Westwood High School. And if you have questions about those, they each have IB counselors that can help out and answer those. Our students also, as we've mentioned multiple times, have the opportunity to earn endorsements and then also industry level certifications. And we'll look at a list of those certifications. So in the 2018-19 school year, which would have been a typical year for our high schools, our students earned a amazing amount of articulated credit or college credit at Austin Community College. So you can see they earned almost 8,900 college credits through the articulation program. And that's where our high school level courses are actually taught by our teachers, but they're mapped to the college level sequence. So as long as they meet all of the criteria, they can earn that credit at ACC, and it's just waiting for them to come and enroll in a course, and then that ends up on their transcript. You'll notice in certifications, our students in grade 8 through 12, including local and statewide or nationally based industry-based certifications, our students earned over 7,800 certifications. And the list of certifications is impressive. And I'm going to leave this here just for a second so you can all look at it. And please continue to ask questions in the chat or in the Q&A area. But you'll notice that many of these certifications, you might be encountering these professionals in your daily life, or some of you may actually be holding these certifications yourselves. And the certifications that are industry-based certifications or those state and nationally recognized, they're not high school level certifications. These are actually industry level certifications that our students are learning the curriculum throughout their 4 years and challenging those certifications. The one thing one of the things to note about the certifications is that if we offer it in Round Rock ISD, we cover the cost for our students. So we cover any preparation materials that might be needed, the actual testing fees, and some of these fees, if we talk about CPR, that might be a $2 CPR card. But if we're talking about any other certifications like the clinical medical assistant, that's worth about $150 per student to test. So any of these across the board, again, if we offer it, we're going to support your student to earn these. Some programs of study offer one certification. Not all have some just yet. We're still working with our staff on that, but it's not uncommon for our programs of study to offer 2, 3, or more certifications. In the automotive area, you'll notice there's an automotive service excellence. And if you've ever been to an auto shop to get your car worked on, you might notice that they have an insignia up that says ASE certified. And you want that. That means you have a certified mechanic that actually has been tested in these areas and demonstrated proficiency. And that's what our students actually get to do in high school. They get to take the automotive service excellence exams, and they can earn as many as they want that we can offer to them. The Adobe suite, which is the first on the list, is really professional grade software in animation, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, which is a video editing software. So lots of opportunities for our students to get some really great experience in those programs. And again, these may be things that they know they want to go on and study, or if a student really wants to get into photography, learning Photoshop is a critical role. And so our students may actually take these certifications and parlay them into part-time jobs or supporting themselves through college. There's lots of different ways that these certifications are utilized by our students. But also, no matter if they're ever used in that career field, students can put that on their resume. Anything that shows that they have studied and worked hard towards something and have an industry level credential in their resume is amazing. And we're in awe of our students all the time. But you'll notice that Microsoft Office is on there, the NCCER, which was related to our construction, multiple health science certifications like that certified nurse aide, certified pharmacy technician. We also have the veterinary assistant program, and that's available at 2 of our campuses. So students who are interested in working in a veterinary clinic or actually becoming vets down the road can actually go through our internship process, get the 500 hours that are required for them to test. So it's not simply knowledge. They actually have to have that practical hands-on piece and then test for the exam. You'll notice on the right-hand side, we have OSHA, which is an important safety factor for our students. And then also a Texas State Florist Association certification. The floral design program is wildly popular across our campuses that offer that, and we have lots of students who challenge that. We also offer through health science some FEMA certifications and disaster response, or CERT, and then also some terrorism awareness certifications. So lots of opportunities, as well as level 2 security training for our students to engage in those programs and demonstrate mastery. Now we're going to switch over a little bit to fine arts and give you some information, just very basic high-level information about fine arts. But as you know, if you have a student that's already been through elementary in Round Rock ISD, 100% of our elementary students participate in music and art. That is something that our district staff, from our teachers to our fine arts leadership, all the way to our executive leadership team, is really committed to our students having that arts background. We know that students who study art engage both sides of their brain, and so we are very proud that all of our students are engaging in those programs. As well, all students in middle and high school participate in at least a fine arts course, but you'll notice that 81% of middle school and 42% of high school students enroll in fine arts courses beyond the minimum requirement. And that's really a testament to the amazing programming that the Fine Arts Department offers across our campuses. We won't go into depth in the programs of study for fine arts, just like we didn't go into depth into our CTE individual programs. But the important thing to know is that for these programs to match up with endorsements, students do need to take 4 credits or 4 years of those programs. So if your student is interested in band and pursuing that in high school, they'll take that throughout their 4 years. They get their academy and their endorsement designation. Same thing with theater arts and visual arts. Also with our ceramics and anything else that our students can engage in. Some of our campuses offer piano and dance and lots of different options. And those courses are much easier to follow than some of our CTE sequences, as they are dance 1, 2, 3, 4. Piano 1, 2, 3, 4. And so if your student is interested in fine arts, that information is also included in our academy brochures. We mentioned earlier about 4-year planning and making sure that you can fit everything in. And you absolutely can, as long as you create your plan with the counselor. You'll see on this document, which is taken directly out of our academy brochure, all students take what's called the 4x4. And you'll notice that it's across the top, across grades 9 through 12, for English, for social studies, for math, and for science. And that's the traditional graduation plan that Round Rock ISD has adopted, or the foundation with endorsements. So students will take that 4x4. That's where, if you know that your student wants to get to AP Calculus by the time they graduate, sit down with a counselor and map that backwards. If 12th grade, it's AP Calculus, what do I need to take in 11th, 10th, 9th, and even in middle school in order to prepare to get to that? Same thing with English. If a student knows that in their junior year, they want to take English 3 AP, working with that counselor to make sure that they take the appropriate prereqs is definitely vital. You'll notice there are some check marks below the 4x4. Besides the 4 credits in each of those 4 program areas, students in the state of Texas are required to take 2 LOT, or languages other than English, credits, 1 fine arts credit, and 1 PE credit. You'll notice there are lots of empty blanks beyond that, and that's because students have the opportunity to take a variety of electives. Some of those electives might be in the form of double blocked band. So if your student is taking band marching band throughout the year, it would actually take up 2 of the open squares at a time. And those squares in no way represent, or those checkboxes in no way represent, where students need to take these classes. If a student wants to take their fine arts elective in their freshman year, great. If they want to fit it in their junior year, it's totally up to the student and the counselor and family to determine that. If a student is maybe taking a foreign language right now in middle school, many would suggest that you continue that in 9th grade year. Don't take a gap year in that. It's just like math. If you don't use it, you might lose it. And so we encourage students to take that earlier. But if a student isn't enrolled in a foreign language or a language other than English in middle school, they may choose to wait and take it a little bit later. But you will notice that across the bottom in that teal area are the 4 check marks that would indicate where Academy courses for their endorsement would land. So you'll notice that even with the required courses that all students have to take, as well as the endorsement classes, there's still many blocks. So if students want to engage in double blocked athletics and other things, you'll notice that there's actually time to do that. It's just important to make that plan and have that conversation with the counselor. And again, as I mentioned in the beginning, these graduation plans and our academies being a 4-credit sequence are different from graduates from 3 years ago. And so if you have a student who graduated a while back and it doesn't look exactly the same, the state of Texas loves to keep us on our toes. And so they change things as we go sometimes. And that would be the change of the 4 credits that are required for the academy endorsement. As we have been going through this presentation, there are probably some questions that have come up, and I'm sure the chat I know it's been moderated and those questions have been answered, but these are some of our more frequently asked questions that we get asked throughout the year. Will students be able to participate in multiple academies and endorsements? And the answer is yes. Some students have the opportunity to take 2 academies starting in their freshman year. And some of those align beautifully and others might be complete polar opposites. But again, it's just looking at that 4-year plan and figuring out how to make all of that work. Will students be required to select an academy and endorsement? Yes, all of our students in 8th grade select their academy along with their endorsement. They do have the option, like I said, to change, and that's the next question on the page. Can they change within their 4 years? And they can. The important thing is just to know that in order to make it all fit, that you really just have to look at how soon that change is made and if any courses need to be doubled up on in order to make them fit. How do academies prepare students for post-secondary options? As we said before, they give students the opportunity to pick a focus area and study that to depth. It's much like a college major or even a minor, where you have other courses that are required that everyone has to take, but you get to focus in on that area of study. Can a student complete double block fine arts or athletics and an academy? We talked about that when we were looking at the graphic of the 4-year plan, and the answer is yes. Sometimes it might mean getting creative with when classes are taken, or maybe taking opportunities like summer dual credit offerings. But it definitely, if that's something that students want to focus on, work with the counselors and they can help that be realized. So before we get to the questions, just kind of a mantra or a feeling within Round Rock ISD is that we're inspiring students to learn and empowering students for life. We really want to make sure that our students and our families are confident that our kids are getting the best education here possible. And is everything perfect? Never. Nothing's ever perfect, but we're always working on improving our programs, bringing in new programs for our students that meet trends within our community, but also across the state and nation. We would love to say that all of our students are going to stay in Round Rock or come back to Round Rock after finishing studies, but we know that that's not true and that students will go all over the country and the world to follow their career passions. And so we want to make sure that our students are prepared for that. With that, I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm just going to see if Mr. Boff and Ms. Darby have any questions that we need to bring up and answer for everyone in the group, or if there were any themes. And of course, families, keep typing in those questions in the Q&A document. And at this point, we may not answer through chat, but we may be able to address them verbally.
So Sherry, there is one question there that would be better addressed live regarding transfers.
Wonderful question. So the question is, should we change our students to a high school that's offering the academy that they like? And thank you for that, Ms. Darby, for highlighting that. So students do have the opportunity for some of our program areas to submit transfers. Our transfers are completed through the Schools and Innovation Office. So those are the folks that actually supervise the running and management of campuses, and they're connected with our principals. Some of our programs of study absolutely have the availability for students to submit transfers. And students can submit transfers for any program of study, but there does have to be room on that receiving campus for a student to be accepted. And that process, again, is available on the Schools and Innovation site. Some courses that historically have had room for transfers would be the JROTC program, some of our agricultural science programs, and they change from year to year. So I'm hesitant to give specific program offerings, but that's where working with the campus and the Schools and Innovation office in order to be able to find out if your student would be eligible. And that time frame for submitting transfers is in the spring. So definitely look for that information on their site. The window may actually be open, the application, so you can submit that if it is, and then that office will be in touch with you to let you know if that's accepted or not. The one thing that's important to know about transfers is that if students are accepted on a transfer, it's an annual proposal that needs to be submitted, or an annual filing with that application, and families are responsible for transportation. We do not offer transportation for transfers for our academy programs. The one program area that does offer transportation, or one campus I should say, would be the early college high school. And that's not what our session is about tonight, but if your student is interested in the early college high school campus at Austin Community College here in Round Rock ISD does provide transportation from their home to the early college high school campus. Good question, thank you.
So there have been a couple of questions asking how they can see this recording. And so just to answer that, we put that in the chat. I'll also go ahead and put a link into the Future Readiness website that will have this presentation as well as any past parent seminars you may have missed. And so I will put that in the group, in the chat, as well as the Q&A section for anybody who may have missed that.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. Yes, I'm glad folks are asking about that. So here's our parent and family and parent seminar site that Ms. Darby dropped into the chat for everyone to be able to see. But you'll notice here's our event tonight. Here's our upcoming seminars. So opportunities to learn about plans for how to pay for college. So if you've got an 8th grader and you want to jump on that, or maybe you also have a junior or a senior and you're worried or wondering about different ways. Information about social emotional learning right now with our students being remote, that's really important to keep them connected and check in on them and make sure that we're all doing okay. Increasing college readiness with our different exams such as PSAT, SAT, and ACT. And for those who some of those acronyms might be unrecognizable, those are the exams that our students will actually take to demonstrate readiness for college. And so they're required in a traditional year for college acceptance. Several colleges, if not most right now, are waiving those for this year for our current seniors, just because of the pandemic and exams not being offered as regularly as they have in the past. Ms. Mitcha, who we mentioned on our team earlier, our assistant director, actually will have the career exploration session coming up in February. And that's a time that where you can actually as a family get together and look at interest inventories. And that's online tools where students can start to gauge what their career interests are, but then also their aptitude, and try to map that maybe to an academy, or again, if you've got older students, preparing them for jumping off after graduation. Apprenticeships is another session Ms. Mitchell will hold. We've got students who know the career field they want to enter into, and they want to get into an apprenticeship right away. When we hear apprenticeships, oftentimes people think traditional trades like plumbing and HVAC and electrical, but now the state and federal government really are pushing apprenticeships as an opportunity for all different career fields for our students to enter into the workforce without having to go straight into college or have those areas. So one in our community, as such example, would be a cybersecurity apprenticeship with cyber defenses within our area. So there's lots of different ways to get involved with apprenticeships and not necessarily traditional trades. The real deal, job shadowing internships. Lucy Sanchez, who's one of the specialists on our team, is actually going to have that session. So if you've got students who know that they want to have an internship, maybe aren't sure how to do that, what the first steps are, she's got a great session. She's been very successful in Westwood High School of getting students internships. You'll also notice that in April, we have college admission panel, and that's just a good opportunity for students to ask admissions officers what they need to do to prepare for their college applications. So if it's a senior, might be a little late for that, but if you've got a junior or someone younger, that's valuable information. And I believe that's a repeat session. And then also banking and basics. So we hear quite often that we all wish we had more instruction on personal finance. And so that's an opportunity there. If you want to look at past presentation and resources, those will all be cataloged on this site, where you'll see the video presentations are included. So if you know someone who missed tonight and it's information they really need, or if you just want to watch again to pick up on something maybe that you missed or jot down some notes, our session will be posted here as soon as they can get it up, but you can also go and look at others that have been posted in the past.
So our next question, Ms. Bonds, is how does the tag subjects transition from, I'm assuming, Grisham Middle School to Westwood High School?
So TAG is the Talented and Gifted program, and that is something that Miss Michelle Swain is over for Round Rock ISD, and she can definitely answer those questions. Our students do have the opportunity to earn their TAG or GT diploma in high school. The courses that they have the opportunity to take can be satisfied in lots of different ways to earn that requirement. But again, Michelle Swain, SWAIN, is our Director of Advanced Academics, and she can help out by answering those questions.
And I will put Ms. Swain's email address in response to that question.
Wonderful. Any other questions or anything we've missed? You've got a captive audience with us for a few more minutes. We don't want to hold anybody to the end just because we've got a different end time. We're here to answer the questions. So please feel free to drop those in the Q&A, and we'll stay as long as those questions are available. Again, look for this session to be posted on the Round Rock ISD Future Readiness Parents Seminar website. It may take a few days to get the recording all edited and put up. So if you don't see it before Friday afternoon, it may be over the 2-week break before it gets posted, but rest assured it will be posted.
Ms. Bonds, we just got clarification on the posting of that video, and it will be the 1st or 2nd week of January.
Beautiful. Yep.
Know.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We're glad to know that it will take a little bit of time to work on the editing, but we'll look in January after we return from the holiday break in order to see that. Let's see, are there any other questions? Not, I'll turn on the elevator music again, and we'll sit here for a little bit and see if anybody asks some questions. But if not, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And please, once the recording is up, share it with anyone that your students know, any other family and friends that need this information. Feel free to contact us at any time with any questions. We're always here to help. It's not intended to be something scary for students to transition to 8th to 9th grade, but there definitely are questions. And those questions are going to be no matter what district our students may be coming from or other districts across the state. We just want to be here in Round Rock to answer the questions about our specific programs, make everyone feel at ease, and ensure that our students have a happy and successful transition to their freshman year. So continue to drop those questions in the chat, and we will be here for a while. Thanks so much, everyone.
Sherry, I was going to say, do you mind pulling up the CTE website so if they have some questions, they can go check that out as well?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alicia.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. Anytime we get to expose, parents and students to more information about the academies here in Round Rock, we're glad to help.
Definitely. So our web address for our CTE site is cte.roundrockisd.org. There's lots of information. We mentioned articulated credit, CTE student organizations, but here what Ms. Darby was talking about our campus programs, and being able to see the information that's pertinent that you're going to want to know. We reference the Academy brochure that we'll be mailing out the print copy, but the digital from this current school year is available. 8th grade students will actually get next year's Academy program brochure, so they'll be able to see what will be offered in their freshman year. But you'll notice much of the information we reviewed tonight regarding academies. Here's an example from Cedar Ridge. You can see the business and industry offerings and the different programs of study, and it actually shows the sequence with the individual courses. So just a little more information than we wanted to get into tonight. Tonight was really the overview of what academies are and why we have those in Round Rock ISD. Don't want to scroll too fast, but I do want to come down. We referenced visual and performing arts, and the Visual and Performing Arts Academy information is in the brochure as well, and it lists out by high school the different program areas and the course sequences for our students to take. So you can see everything from band, choir, dance, music studies, visual art, lots of different options for our students to earn their Visual and Performing Arts Academy and Fine Arts endorsements. Information about the college credit that our students can earn and different opportunities they have within our academies. Let me keep scrolling. Information about endorsements and earning those through our Round Rock ISD academies. And then also they will actually come with a draft of a 4-year plan. So when you get these in, you might not yet have the choice sheet or the 4-year plan from your counselor, or maybe you do and you don't want to mess that sheet up. Feel free to doodle all over this page and start to map out where your student is going to fit in all of those classes.
And Sherry, looks like we have some questions.
Okay.
Let's see. How can person with no, okay, so how can someone with little to no knowledge about high school prepare their student?
That's a question that I'm glad was asked. First, we know that we can get knowledge and experience from our friends and neighbors, even family members. But if it's something that's very specific to Round Rock ISD, if you're a current middle school student, I would begin with your middle school counselor and ask them those questions. Of course, like we said, Mr. Boff and Ms. Darby and I and the rest of our team, if it's CTE specific, we're here to answer those questions. But middle school counselors are a good place to start. If there are specific questions that you've got about high school in general and want to pose those back in the Q&A right now, we'd be happy to help address those if we have that information. High school counselors, you will be able to schedule a time slot with your counselor to make the final choices for your 4-year plan. It's a valuable process. The amount of time, often our folks say, gosh, I wish I had just a couple more minutes. So if you can get started with some of those questions in advance, again, through the 8th grade counselor or by emailing the high school counselors in advance, that's a way to get some of that information.
Okay. And the next question is, how can I see the course choice sheet? I got the email about the transition, but it doesn't allow me to access to see the choice sheet.
So that is probably something that I would reach out to whoever sent it to you. If that was the middle school counselor or if a contact from the high school directly sent it, would reach out to that staff to find out what that choice sheet looks like. Our course catalogs, and maybe this is something that we can drop in the chat, is a link to our most current high school course catalog. But basically across our high schools, if it's specific to our academies, if that program of study is offered, almost all of our sequences begin with freshman year. Planning out the entire 4 years is important, but in that counselor meeting, they're definitely going to want to know what courses in that freshman year are going to be taken. And so that's actually information that you can access in the course catalog. And the course catalog, and I guess I can just go ahead and pull that up while I'm talking about it. Our course catalogs are all found on Google Drive, and you can access those from our district website. But if I come here to the 2021, which is the current catalog, and it'll be the 2021 High School CC or course catalog. It's a very large PDF, so you may not want to download it. You may just want to go through and view But if we scroll down in the beginning section, there's lots of information about what are credits. That's something different from middle school to high school. In middle school, the majority of courses are not for a high school credit value. There are some classes that are, but for the most part, they're not. So that's something that's one of those changes when folks get into high school, is that every course has a credit and needs to be passed regardless whether it's counted in GPA or not. If it counts towards graduation, courses must be passed. So that's a 70 or better. But all of that information is included in the course catalog. It's lengthy, so find the sections that you know that you need to brush up on and review those. But even here, we map out some of our program of study information. As you scroll down, choice sheets are not going to be in here, but you will get to see courses by content area. So under English Language Arts, you'll see all of the different courses available. And the parent who asked about TAG, you'll notice that there's English 1 Advanced and English 1 TAG Advanced. And so that information is available. And all of the different program areas or content areas are included: ELA or English Language Arts, math, science, social studies, all the way down into our CTE program areas, as well as visual and performing arts. Are there any other questions? Oh, someone asked for the...
You'll want to contact your students before you leave that page, Sherry. Hold on. You'll want to contact your students' counselor at Pearson Ranch, and they can give you more information about that. And then, as you can see, and I'll put the link to the Google Drive in the chat as well, but there's a middle school to high school transition guide there. If you go back one more for me. And I'll put that in the link, and that seems to be helpful, because I know we had a couple of other parents asking about how do you prepare for high school, but there's at that last link, the middle school to high school transition, which seems to be very helpful for a lot of 8th grade parents who have students going to the 9th grade. So I'll put that in there as well.
Good note. Thank you, Ms. Darby. And I did drop the link for the course catalog into the chat.
Okay.
There's another person that's asked for it.
We have a question. What's the difference between AP, TAG, and advanced?
So there are opportunities for weighted grade point averages with those courses. Some offer college credit and some do not have the opportunity for college credit. So with AP or advanced placement, at the end of the year, in the spring, students have the opportunity, if they choose, to take the AP exam. Taking an AP exam is not required for the course, but it is something that the majority of the students in the class will choose to take the exam. And scores for those are on a 1 to 5 scale. And depending on the score number that students receive on those exams, it's up to the college or the university that would be receiving those scores to determine if it's equivalent to college credit or not. So some schools might require a 3 on a course or an exam, and other campuses or other universities may require a 4 or even a 5 for students to receive college credit. So that's important to look at the school and also the major that your student intends to pursue. Make sure the course is matched to those majors in their course plan, and then also look at the corresponding course required in order to earn college credit for that class. Oh, so Dr. Darden is on. She is our Executive Director of Future Readiness, and she let us know that on November 17th, back last semester, there was a detailed video on our Future Readiness site that goes into that information. So it explains it much better than I just attempted to, with all of the right vernacular and examples and all of those things. So we'll see if we can get that link to drop in the chat. Any other questions?
And I'm sorry, I missed it. Which link do you need me to add? Sherry, I'm sorry.
It's from November 17th, a video on our Future Readiness site about the different types of college credit.
Okay, I'll get that up.
Thank you. It's entitled How to Earn College Credit in High School. With any other questions out there? Like I said, we're happy to be here. Ms. Darby, have you been able to find that link for the earning college credit yet?
Yes, I'm just typing it up now, and
Perfect.
was able to find the YouTube link. So I'm going to give you direct access. As soon as you click on it, you can watch it. Pulls it right up for you.
So again, thank you so much for joining us. We know this week is filled with a lot of excitement for our students of just a few more days to 2 weeks of freedom. Actually, I guess for students, it's almost 2.5 weeks because they won't come back until Wednesday the 6th. So our students will actually have a holiday from Friday, December 18th until school resumes again for them on January 6th. So if you've got students taking final exams in any of their classes, we wish them luck. Hope they get lots of sleep to prepare for those exams. If not, we hope everyone had a successful fall. Having engaging parents and family members like y'all really will ensure that your students are successful and gives them a better opportunity to be successful. So continue to check in on your students, check in on teachers. If you are interested at all in being a mentor for other students or know someone who would be, our Future Readiness Department has an amazing mentor program. And right now it's all completely virtual. So our mentors are meeting with our students and making those connections. So if you are interested in being a mentor or know someone who might need a mentor themselves, have them reach out to their counselor. But if you're interested in being a mentor, by all means, reach out and we can get you trained and get you connected with our students. I do see a question that said, would it be too late for my daughter to enroll in the Naval JROTC program for Stony Point? I'm not sure, Edna, if your student is already at Stony Point or would need to be a transfer to get to Stony Point. But that is a question that the counselors there can definitely answer. Unless there's some sort of a requirement from the Department of Defense, I don't see there's a reason not to. So reach out to the instructors and the counselors there at Stony Point, and they can give you all of the information that we need. I actually taught at Stony Point many years ago, and so that Naval JROTC program, I remember firsthand just what a great experience it was for our students. So thanks for asking about that one. All right, so Ms. Darby, thanks for dropping in that link about the Future Readiness, how to earn college credit in high school. That's wonderful. And we've answered the question about the ROTC. So if we don't see any other questions pop up in the next minute or so, we will let y'all go. Maybe finish up dinner, tuck some younger kiddos in bed, whatever you've got to do. But we do appreciate you spending time tonight with us just so we can share information about academies, answer the questions that you have, and just give you a little bit more knowledge maybe than you had before. And we thank you for being with us. And everyone, have a good night.